I would like to talk about the examples of racism in Malaysia, the causes and effects of racism in Malaysia, and ways to overcome racism in our everyday life. Many Malaysians like to boast that they are sophisticated, receptive, and accepting of people of other cultures and faiths. The country sells itself as a poster child for world peace and harmony. Unfortunately, instances of racism in the education, property, and employment sectors were prominent in recent years. Social media have provided access for individuals to make racially inflammatory statements which corrode solidarity among the people of Malaysia. Racist behaviors are suddenly prevalent in Malaysia. For example, saying that Chinese are rich, or the Indians are wallets in chaos, and Malays are religious maniacs or lazy. The birth of social media platforms have provided more open spaces for rampant expressions of hate speech. Recent instances of racism within the Malaysian society have increasingly arisen over the years. Racism is normally described as an act of bias, bigotry, and animosity directed against someone of a different ethnic group, based on the belief that one's own ethnic group is superior. Malaysia is regularly highlighted with cases and issues related to the word racism. Even until this moment, Malaysians are made to believe that every issue they come across is one among the Malays against the non-Malays. Racism was deeply embedded in Malaysian society, especially in education, the business sector, social media, using the name of religion. Racism has been ugly hate in education for a long time, and so is not alien to its horrifying impacts. For example, in 2013, the principal of SMK Alam Megan and Shalam has scolded noisy non-Malay students and told them to balik India and China. Most horrifyingly, SMK San Francisco were a few schools that's built a smaller size canteen with some of the rest Canteen Melayu entirely for Malay students and staff members. Already Malaysia have used social media to make racially inflammatory statements. A person with the name of Indian Jebat on Facebook mentioned on his homepage that Indians and Chinese are the cause of corruption of police force because all other religions except Islam lack punishment hereafter. A person with the name Ota Prayer had made a racist Facebook status blaming the Chinese for deceiving him as a person online. In the status he used racist language and blamed the Chinese for deceiving him, for tricking him. Racism was found to be rampant in the business sector, like in the property industry and job applications. A job vacancy advertisement stating "wanted Chinese only" was put up by a local franchise body shop. This offending, racially discriminatory job advertisement, which brought attention by a Facebook user, caused a storm. An Indian man was searching for a shelter to rent was turned down because of his race. The scheduled meeting was cancelled by the agent upon hearing his Indian name. A message was sent by the agent which says the owner wants to rent property for extra only. The recent years have shown a new tendency of racism where there was a rise of racially prejudiced incidences due to increasing religious zeal. A Muslim-only toilet sign was put up at the rest area on the East Coast Expressway. The sign had caused a controversy. It was removed after the firm was informed of this matter. A self-service laundromat in Muar had triggered criticism on social media for only allowing Muslims to use a laundromat. Photograph of the shop signboard which reads "For Muslim customers only" based on the laundromat entrance went viral on Facebook. There are two causes of racism. One of the causes is politics, and this is a problem maintaining unity in Malaysia. Ever since the formation of Malaysia, racism was employed as a contraption to divide and rule the country. We continue to elect politicians who allege that Malays are a backwards race that can never stand their own without affirmative action. Such a mindset itself gives birth to racism. A second cause is lack of understanding about the cultures and behaviors of other ethnic groups. Although we live in the same homeland, most Malaysians are more inclined to make friends with their own ethnic groups rather than joining other ethnic groups. For example, Malays who live in rural areas do not frequently reach out to the non-Malays who live mainly in urban areas. Therefore, they are isolated from developing friendship with other races. Lack of communication with other races will obviously create discomfort and failures to understand the cultures of different races. This scenario has created more fallouts than one can ever think of, like racial animosity and intolerance among races. There are two effects of racism. One of the biggest effects is racial conflict, which occurred before on 30 May 1969. The feelings of suspicion and discontent which led to the rise in 1969 still exists today. They easily become a black spot in the history of Malaysia. The spectrum of May 13 violence has been frequently used as a threat against any potential change to status quo, like minority rights. Since then, we continue to witness racial outbursts and threats uttered by far-right extremists. The lessons of the past should be learned and not to be repeated ever again. Another effect is failure in unity in Malaysia. Malaysians are polarized, divided, and distrustful of other races. This remain the government distinguish people by race and religion. Leaders often complain about the lack of unity, but they rely on and support policies that continue discrimination and foster racism, like the new economic policy. They're not bothered to witness the destructive impacts of the discredited policies. Racism will paralyze Malaysia soon if nothing is done to combat it. The country and people will suffer until we accept non-racism as essential to our survival. There are 4 ways you can do to tackle racism in your everyday life. First, you need to learn recognizing and understanding your own privilege. Ethnic privilege plays out across your social, political, and economic environments. Reviewing your privilege and using your privilege to undo ingrained racism are 2 approaches to start this complicated process. Second, you must call out racist jokes or statements. If you are uncomfortable or do not feel safe and aggressive, try to break down the thought process and ask questions. Bear in mind that even silent laughing along means that you agree. Third, you should challenge this colorblind ideology. Perpetuating a colorblind ideology contributes to racism. It is futile to eradicate racism without first recognizing race itself. We must see color in order to collaborate for equity and civil rights. Number 4, you need an added consumer of media and news. Media stereotypes are some of the most dangerous portrayal of minorities in Malaysia. You can easily take in stereotypes and then reinforce to you through advertisement and news story that are being represented. Use social media to challenge these media sources. In a nutshell, racism will transmit all over the country like a plague and being inherited from generation to generation. It is indisputable that combating racism in a multiracial country like Malaysia is quite tough. It is indeed high time to build order a new Malaysia where everyone can feel equal under the Malaysian sun. Obviously, there's never a complete stop to the problem of racism. We must double efforts to suppress racism in this country. One thing is clear as sun. If you are a Malaysian, your skin color has nothing to do with it. Racism must end now. Thank you.